Dear PUBG mobile player.
Well, what's happening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages? Welcome, 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 and super duper happy to have you here for day 2 of the PUBG Mobile Independence Tournament Finals. We got 3 more matches left, only 3 more matches left to decide who is going to be the winner of this $5,000 prize pool event. DK, what are your thoughts for the day?
I think it's going to be an absolutely sweaty day. We already saw the teams just stepping up absolutely phenomenally in yesterday's 3 matches. And I'm looking to see a beautiful continuation on that. Really looking forward to seeing what the teams are going to be bringing in as we are going to be making our way through our final 3 matches for the Independence Day tournament.
That's right, guys. We got 3 rounds of action, mayhem, and strategy coming your way today. But first and foremost, for those of you who aren't quite acquainted as to who we are, I'm Red Eyes, your ever-lovable and adorably cuddly caster, bringing you that daily dosage of butt-kickery, tomfoolery, and all-around shenaniganism. And I'm not alone. I'm joined by my main man, DK. And we are going to be kicking things off the usual way, starting things off with Erangel, moving on into the wide open desert of Miramar, and then ending things for the day with a Sanhok match. And as you guys have seen throughout the course of this event, this is a kind of maps. Every map is different. They all entail their own strategy, their own geographical uniqueness, and so they are absolutely going to be completely different from one another. What might have worked so well on Erangel might not be the key or the ticket to Miramar or Sanhok. So you need to be well adapted and well versed in this, and that's what I think most of the players are going to be coming into day 2 with their focus on.
Yeah, 100% agree with you on that one. And I think the team's already learned quite a bit from yesterday's performances, as we did see that continuous improvement coming through as we progressed from Erangel into Miramar, and then, of course, ended up in that beautiful, sweaty jungle. So I think today is going to be the next step up from that, right? Teams really looking to hone it in and just refine it even more so. But I'm also expecting today to be a lot more aggressive in comparison to what we saw just yesterday.
Yeah, I think this is going to be kind of that make or break moment for a lot of these teams. You know, a lot of them are, you know, maybe on the lower bracket or even in that kind of middle range. But with, you know, that kind of the top couple teams have a bit of a point gap between the lower brackets. And so it's going to be sort of an all-out aggressive bloodbath warfare day if my prediction goes correct. And I do agree with you. And that's just because this is like all or nothing at this point.
Yeah, it is going to be all or nothing. But as I said yesterday, right, what I want to see today is that that extra little bit of improvement coming through from the players there from Green Dagger, right? Yesterday, they ended up pretty much in second place with regards to eliminations, right? So they've been showing quite a bit of aggression. The only thing that's been holding them back a little bit was being able to capitalize on those placement points as well. So my main focus for today is going to be looking to see whether or not Green Dagger and the rest of the lobby can actually continue now to just improve on those little things that could have been lacking in yesterday's performances.
Well, no time to waste, guys. We are going to get right into the thick of the action. We're going to be kicking things off with, as we had already said, Erangel. Now, what needs to be said about Erangel? Well, basically, as I always give this spiel, it's the off-bred love child of Sanhok and Miramar because it is the perfect middle ground between those 2 extremes, which does leave it fairly reliant upon the flight path to determine what sort of early game we end up getting. And here we see it. It's not by any means a central flight path, but it is going to leave a lot of drop spots open to our participants. Right away, I see the main heavyweights of this event finals, the No Mercy crew, heading westbound towards the Zarki area. It looks like the boys in Ace of Spades are going to be heading eastbound towards Severny. Further down to our south, we can see Strangers BD occupying the North George area. It looks like the crew in Battle for Glory might be heading Roshawk bound, and if so, they might be joined by the crew in Cave Esports. A little further off to the west, just above the hospital area, we can see Bope Esports ranging around that area, and this is a team that has been very conditional in this event. I believe they won one of the matches yesterday, but didn't quite fare so well in the following 2, so this is going to be a big day to decide for them. But also further down south, we can see the Puppeteers just alongside the GOAT team, not too far off, heading to the Coastal Ridge. A little bit further south, we see the crew in Green Dagger, and they are just above Egotistical, and it's going to be interesting to see if anything rages between those 2 teams at the Primorsk area.
Yeah, and it's great to see the teams changing it up a slight tad bit here today. Of course, the flight path looking very similar to what we had in our very first Erangel yesterday. The zone taking a little bit of a different move here. Yesterday, we sailed over onto towards the west. Today, it settles for a little bit more of a central/eastern positioning here. But what is good to see, though, is that the players there from both, again, are going to be moving over towards that hospital position where we saw them dropping just yesterday. But aside from that, a few of the teams still keeping things pretty much the same. As we can still see the players there from Puppeteers dropping pretty close to GOAT. We see the players from Egotistical down in that southern edge, but Green Dagger now changing it up. Instead of going north this time around, we see them actually moving straight into Primorsk, looking to bring in a little bit of that early game contention. So I'm liking the kind of shifts that the teams are bringing in the second day.
Yeah, it seems this first map zone is going to give us a pretty decent spread throughout the entire western half of the map, but it does leave us with a couple close confrontations. In particular, I got my eyes here on Nova and the crew in Toxic Terror. Nova has been a very high-performing team in this event. They definitely were up at the top bracket. However, with the No Mercy crew winning 2 of yesterday's matches, it's going to be a tough hurdle for all these teams to catch up. But as we can see, Nova Kindness jumping from rooftop to rooftop, trying to get eyesight. Oh, already we got something in brewing here with Egotistical and the crew in Green Dagger. It looks like Bugsy has been taken down, leaving things in the hands of Thirst and Dewey.
Yep, gotta love it. I gotta love it. I mean, this is that aggression that we want to see. Teams really coming in non-stop, just trying to find any and all of those eliminations available to them. But it is going to be a slow, steady push coming from the side there of Green Dagger, right? They got that knock, but they're not going to be trying to flush it out just yet. Instead, they want to see how the players from Egotistical are going to be reacting to that knock on their teammate.
Yeah, if yesterday is going to be any kind of indicator of what we're to expect today, it's maybe potentially a slower start to our very first match. A lot of teams coming in a little bit hesitant. I think it's going to be a little bit more prominent yesterday because everyone's starting off with a clean slate. A little different so today. As you can see, we already got the Green Dagger crew getting 2 kills to their name here, and so they're getting off to a pretty good start. They're still a full 4-person team, but in general, we can see a little bit of hesitance here, and that was a pattern that we saw yesterday. Teams sort of getting a little more into their groove as the event progressed.
Yeah, I mean, there's still quite a few grooves that could be had here, but I'm loving this 2-2 split coming through now from Green Dagger. As we can see Ozzy and Medallion trying to move on through. Already Seri and Lucy holding up that front line, but this is where Thirst now finds themselves in a very difficult position. It's not going to be an easy play to get themselves out of that position, but it does seem like Dewey has instead decided to rotate further up north, and now as we jump across just slightly to the north, it is going to be the players now from GOAT and the Puppeteers once again finding themselves in a bit of an altercation.
Yeah, it looks like Ray is responsible for both of his team's takedowns. And here we have it. Egotistical Thirst just trying to hold him off at the staircase. It looks like he was able to get 1 knock, and he's going to do the jump down. Here's the moment of truth. Can Carrie get the revive? Nope. We'll see. Oh, Egotistical Thirst taken down to extremely low health here, about 5%. Desperately in need of a first aid. Luckily, he does have 2, but if a utility is inbound, which Lucy is going to throw one. We'll see if it hits. Oh, Molly just barely missing Thirst. He is thanking his lucky stars, surviving by the hair on his chin, and he does get the first aid off. Wow.
With that, yeah, we can see those knocks starting to find their way on end, but it is going to be Dewey now also just to join back up with those. Of course, they wanted out to go find a vehicle to ensure that they've got a quick way to just escape should it be required. But as you can see, Thirst now trying to hold up the angles, just trying to hammer into the next building. Up comes the utilities. It's going to be Thirst to find a little bit of damage onto themselves, but look at this. Dewey also now trying to rush it up. It is now changed into a 2v2, and so far, it looks like the players there from Egotistical still stand a fighting chance.
Yeah, and it looks like off in the distance, our boys in both are doing some work on the Puppeteer crew, and Dewey does get the takedown with very little health to speak of, but he gets him, and that is going to be it. All right, Thirst going in for a drop shot on Carrie, and look, the jump shot. Nicely done. Dewey does secure 1 Thirst. Medallion trying to retaliate here. All the pressure riding on Dewey, and he has very little health to do so. He's going to try to execute a first aid right here and now, and does so successfully. Coming around with that close quarter combat monster, the UMP, and he gets him!
Well, I mean, Egotistical, that was absolutely amazing. You know, Dewey just doing it, showing us how to come through with that headshot spray. I mean, that was beautiful to see. And now as we move a little bit further on, we did, of course, see the players here from Bope coming into a few altercations, but instead they are going to be now making their way further towards the zone. And what's going to be interesting, especially looking at this western edge, right? They've got Gatka available just up ahead of them, but I'm not quite convinced that they're going to be looking to rotate deep into that zone. I kind of expect them to try and just hang around on the very edge of zone, because that is the kind of play that we saw come through from them just yesterday.
Yeah, I do remember that, and not only that, but they, coming around on that edge, they find themselves with an opportunity to utilize the edge of that mountain, get a little bit of high ground potentially, and have a nice little area of overwatch in between that open landscape between themselves and Pachinki. But for the meantime, it looks like we might be getting a little bit of action here between Ace of Spades and the crew in No Mercy at the north end of zone. Potentially something to keep an eye on for sure. No Mercy has been one of the top contenders in this event thus far, just really dominating the playing field, not just in terms of kills, but placement as well. So they're going to be one of the teams I'm absolutely going to be keeping a close eye on as this event progresses. Interestingly enough to note, nobody utilizing the southern island, the military base island at all. Oh, poor Nemesis. Oh. The buddy system.
Yeah, I mean, you got to get it, right? Because Nemesis now met their Nemesis right here on Erangel, and that is, of course, trying to drive a Tesla over that ridge line. It doesn't work, it gets stuck. But now it is going to be the teams looking to not only get themselves stuck on a few ridges, but instead also going to be looking to push a little bit further in. And Bope rather really making me swallow my words as we can see them now pushing deep into that zone, trying to pull up and potentially heading in the direction they are, the players from Cave. But Potato Hill could be a good place to try and call home. And we can already see the players from Cave keeping that in mind as they've already kind of started to set themselves up there. And that allows a beautiful bit of a vantage point potentially to those lower edges coming through towards that Pachinki area. But it does seem like we do have a little bit of a convergence in a little bit more of a vertical line, right? Yesterday we did see somewhat more of a horizontal formation coming in, but it does seem like the teams are opting and anticipating a northern shift coming through in the next phase.
Yeah, it does seem like getting early real estate in more of a central location inside this new zone seems to be a higher priority than yesterday. There was definitely a lot of edge holding, and that was probably because of the geographical advantages of just where the zone was placed, having a lot of high ground advantages on the edge. But here in this case, we can see a lot of crews clustering around that center portion between Pachinki and the farm area. And look, the zone shift has happened, and it does prove favorable to pretty much all those teams who did go to that central location. They have already found themselves in the new zone with pretty decent placement here. We can see the crew and strangers heading southbound into zone, not too far off to their east. They're going to have to worry about Ace of Spades potentially running into them. Even off to their west, the crew and strangers BD also trying to get early placement inside this new zone. It's something to keep an eye on for sure to make sure that they don't get sandwiched. But I am keeping close eyes on Toxic Terror, GKS, and the crew and Goat as they are all clustering around the western edge just between Pachinki and the edge of zone.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, it was a really bumpy start for GKS just yesterday, so this could be a potential opportunity for them now to try and improve on that and maybe have a little bit more of a favorable run going through Erangel. But as you can see, the players here from Battle for Glory, they're going to be trying to find a potential region just up in towards that farm area, and it is still now up to Revenge, who's focusing their efforts right onto the players there from No Mercy. I'm loving this kind of hilltop spray or position that we have coming through here from Strangers DB, but I mean, it could maybe still work out in favor of No Mercy. It's all going to come down on how they look to utilize the position they find themselves in.
Well, this is an altercation that we've seen time and time again. Maybe not so much so in the Independence Finals, but we have seen altercations between that area in the compound cover, the schools area and the apartments area, and that little bit of high ground. And I think in this case, you got to be a little bit extra careful, because once you find out that it's No Mercy there, you have to be a little more on guard. That is a team that is really, as I said, dominating not just in terms of aggression, but in placement as well. So that they are very well rehearsed, especially on Erangel, and it's a team to keep an eye out for because they have a little bit of leniency with themselves. They have a little bit of wiggle room. They don't necessarily need to perform at an extremely high level as everyone else with that much of a point lead. Oh, we got the crew and Goat being fired upon by the GKS boys. As you said, GKS does have a little bit of making up to do. They got one member down. Revis is taken down, leaving things in the hands of Tonka, Kollega, and Achilles here. And there's the nade by Ray, taking Kollega down. Beautifully thrown.
Wow, that was just phenomenal. But again, now it is going to be up to the players here from Goat to come rushing on forward, looking to close it up. You can see Achilles now quickly hopping in that buggy, just trying to put a little bit of distance in between. Meanwhile, the knocks come through, or the confirmations rather come on in, as it is going to be Kollega to get traded on down. Up comes a little bit of a rush now here from Ray, trying to play on the edge of the smoke. Spots out Tonga, gets the knock, and now they can turn their focus onto the remaining players coming through here for GKS. But as we can see, they've already been reduced down to 2, and now it is down to only 1, as Achilles yet again finds themselves as the lone ranger, the lone survivor for the GKS team.
Well, Achilles is going to have to be on guard, because as he gets away from the Go Boys, he could be driving out of the frying pan and into the fire, so to speak. He's making his way right by the egotistical group, but getting closer and closer towards the Panthers, and this is going to be something to watch out for, as Chico is moving northbound, could catch eyes and be in pursuit. So if I were him, I would try to find maybe a compound and just sort of lay low, let those numbers dwindle down, and I think that's probably going to be his main objective. But right now, he does seem to be trying to claim a little bit of earlier real estate towards the center portion of zone.
Yeah, I don't think that is too bad of a call to be making, but it does seem like Achilles is trying to figure out which way exactly they want to try and commit towards. As you can see, Achilles now just pulling up the compound just ahead of the Panthers, and I'm not quite sure whether or not that's going to be the best position to pull up into. As you can see, Fears already spotting out a little bit of movement, and Chico is now going to try and follow through on that, and that could potentially be a little bit of a rush coming through now from the Panthers. But I'm liking this approach, right? Chico not fully committing to trying to expand up onto that territory. Instead, just going to be scouting around, trying to gather some information. And I think from that point on, the team is going to make a collective decision as to how they want to try and push on forward. And of course, speaking about pushing, that could come through between the players here of Ace of Spades and well, Bope as well.
Yeah, both these players, both these teams here with a little bit of a, positioning advantage here. With Bope having high ground and Ace having the compound cover, it's going to be a bit of a trade-off. But I love what you were saying about the Panthers, because what I really think they're doing is that strategy they were utilizing yesterday, sort of stalking their prey, and potentially, if I am correct, they could end up doing the every man spreads out and surrounds their opponent and constricts upon them. We saw it with them, and we saw it with Nova. Both are tier 1 organizations in the North American scene, and so I think it's definitely something to take note of.
Yeah, well, we'll have to wait and see how that one pans out. But for the time being, it is going to be the players here from Bope just keeping a keeping a very steady position with regards to Ace of Spades, right? Neither team is going to be looking to push it up just yet. Instead, they're going to be trying to see what the opposing team will do, and also potentially they're going to be waiting to see where the next phase could be shifting up towards. I think that is going to be the determining factor, because there are some advantages to the position being held here by Ace of Spades, but the same can of course be said coming through here for Bope, as they do have a little bit more of an elevated, separated position, and that could actually allow quite a bit of play to come from that.
Yeah, and on the flip that coin a little bit, and another possible option here is because both these players have some form of cover. Yes, they are able to get their line of sights on one another, but the ability to secure a thirst is much more difficult. So this could leave us with a bit more of a standoff, and we'll have to see how it progresses. But as you can see, Achilles being pursued right now by the boys and the Panthers, and here we have it. Achilles is quickly picked off at the hands of Fears, that close quarter combat monster, the UMP-45, and that's going to be GKS eliminated in 12th place.
Well, the players there from the Panthers definitely not wasting time, choosing a great moment to strike down and pick up those eliminations. Meanwhile, the players here from No Mercy are going to be venturing up into a little bit more of a centralized position in towards the zone. Again, a decent amount of compounds they have at their disposal here, so they could get tested depending on where these other teams are going to be rotating up towards. Meanwhile, the players from Battle for Glory are going to be looking to find something down onto the southern edge of the coast.
And this is that bloodbath warfare we were waiting for. Titans, Battle for Glory, Teak taken down at the hands of Stark. And here comes his teammate, P6, trying to come and retaliate. Oh, they got 2 members of BFG down, 3 members down, and that is it. The Titans rocking it. Oh, Goat getting some nade damage put on him. Taken down to just above half health, firing away with that UMP. He does secure the knock. Goat's looking extremely strong this match.
Yeah, definitely looking absolutely glorious. Now let's see, will Thirst be able to hold up the push coming in. I mean, this could still go in favor of Thirst, but it's going to take a lot of strategic maneuvering to get that one in the bag. But it is going to be those utilities now getting sent across, and I'm not quite sure whether or not Thirst can dodge the flames. No, it is going to be Go to clutch it out, and with that, send yet another team back into the lobby.
Rain and Hellfire down on poor Thirst, and Egotistical eliminated in 10th. Guys, that leaves us with 9 teams at this point now, spread across 35 people. We got a lot of fighting left to go here. We can see the crew in Both is starting to occupy that high ground at the north end of zone, not too far off from Cave Esports. Getting eyes on the Panthers. They're trying to catch eyes on their opponent in Titans off in the distance. As Fear scopes in with the 6x M4, not getting any real line of sight there, so it's going to be a bit of a waiting game for them. But the Panthers looking pretty strong here. Only 1 kill to their name, but they are still a full 4-person team. And DK, as we've said time and time again, you cannot put enough emphasis on being a full team come in-game.
Yeah, it definitely could be quite a substantial play to be making here. But as you can see, right, Panthers keeping a little bit more of a cautious approach, still having a beautiful split and still keeping quite a bit of separation coming through between the players. But I'm really hoping that they're going to start condensing that, moving into the end of this third phase, moving forward to in the fourth one, because I think they could really benefit from a little bit more of a closer play for the team. As we know, yesterday, they only managed 2 points over on Erangel. So definitely hoping to see a little bit of improvement coming through on that end. Meanwhile, the players here from Cave, who we know took second place on Erangel just yesterday, up against Bope once again. So a very contentious position being held here by both teams, but we don't see that runaway performance like we had just yesterday, right? Titans, of course, was the team to pick up that absolutely glorious 14 eliminations, but this time around seems like the tables are starting to turn on the Titans themselves.
Yeah, they definitely do seem to be having a little bit of a slower start than previously, but actually I've also noticed that No Mercy getting a knock on one of the goats as we were just previously speaking, and this is an interesting turn of events here, because No Mercy has been one of our, as I said, higher performing teams here, but they've definitely been off to a slower start as well this time around. I don't believe that they have any kills to their name. However, they do have a nice positioning towards the center point of zone, and with that knock on the goats, I'm wondering how they're going to move forward. It looks like the Panthers Moso is hungry for a potential third-party kill steal, but goats are currently reigning dominant here with 8 kills and still a full 4-person team.
Yeah, Goats looking pretty decent here. What a great improvement that is on the 1 elimination they were able to find just yesterday. But now it's going to be an opportunity for the Panthers to try and tighten their grip as they come rushing on forward, trying to get themselves situated a little bit closer on towards that southern edge of the playable area. But we see Coach just up ahead, and they're going to be welcomed by the rush coming in from the Panthers as Chico steps up and finds the trade.
Yeah, you put a Panther up again against a goat, and it's not going to go too well. In this case, it definitely didn't, and that's like another little standoff. I had that little metaphor waiting since yesterday, by the way. But anyways, we got Tapoka here of Cave Esports with eyesight here on the crew in Bope. Whether or not he's going to engage is up to him, but he does find himself with a little space between himself and his teammates. Not much, but it could make all the difference if Bope advances upon them. It doesn't look like that's going to be the case.
Yeah, I mean, Bope instead got to be rotating further towards the zone, leaving behind Potato Hill. And now it leaves the players from Cave to decide how they want to try and get themselves situated. But it does seem like Bope are just going to be playing a little bit of that northern area, right? And it is allowing them a beautiful reach further down to the players from No Mercy and a few of the players coming through there from Titans. But still, we are yet to see the players now from Strangers DB actually find a good rotational play to make to get themselves situated up into this next phase.
And here we have Ray scoping in 4x M4. He's got a general idea of where the Panthers are at, but not able to quite find that line of sight. And it does look to me like the closest thing to an altercation at the moment that we're going to get is going to be No Mercy versus some of the Titans over towards the Pachinki area. But there is a little bit of a standoff there. So I think we have the right idea in keeping eyes on a little bit more of a distance confrontation here. Piper trying to catch eyes on Frady, who's holding position behind the shack, not able to get that line of sight. They're not going to give him that opportunity here. Most teams are already occupying their positioning in zone, with exception to Cave Esports and Strangers BD. So it's going to come down to finding your real estate, claiming that real estate sort of early, because there's not, realistically, outside of Pachinki, there's not that much compound cover left in zone.
Yeah, definitely not a lot of cover left to play with. And of course, what's interesting to see about Frady and Fears, you can see on the opposite end, right? They are trying to distract the players coming through from Goat. And speaking about distractions, G9 will definitely not be distracted as they push on through, gets a knock on towards Limbo. Boom! Up they go in a puff of smoke. And that is going to be the end, at least for Limbo. But now it's going to be up to the rest of the players there from KF to try and bring in those revengeful players as they do now get the knock onto Revenge. But Golden Boy, Volt, and G9 left to now hold up the defensive front. But it could be a full-on send. The zone, of course, taking in a super aggressive shift down to that southeastern edge. And this is where things are going to be quite trying for the teams to get themselves rotated into this next phase.
Yeah, with Strangers currently sandwiched in between the crews in Cave and Toxic, it could be a peanut butter and screws sandwich here. We're gonna have to wait and see how it unfolds, but as you can see, Golden Boy just drenching themselves in smoke cover, utilizing what little bits of cover they can. We're gonna see how it plays out, but Cave could be working their way in. All these teams still need to find their way into zone, but Utility's raining down on G9, taking them down to a quarter health, and another one to take them down to about 10%. It is getting clutch here.
Yeah, it is not only clutch, but sweaty AF as well. Up comes another utility. Oh, just continuously overreaching. I mean, Cave getting so close every single attempt, but not finding that pinpoint hit just yet. Meanwhile, players that are coming through from Strangers TV also just going to be playing it on the edge, but both these teams are starting to run out of time. That blue zone is not going to be waiting for anybody, and they have to try and dissolve this altercation.
And Golden Boy somehow surviving that nade. It looks like it was just a little bit further up. And look, G9 taken out at the hands of Zadir. And this is going to be Cave opportunity to push up. And I think they're going to utilize it. Tapoka creeping forward little by little. It's all in the hands of Golden Boy and Volt X. All the while, the Panthers working on the Goats as Frady finishes off Piper and Goats eliminated in 9th place.
Oh, such a beautiful play to come on in, and it is indeed the players there from Goat eliminated. But still, Cave not going to be backing off, as we can see them pushing on forward, trying to clear it up, and they succeed in their efforts as they now send the players back to the lobby. But still, a little bit of ground for them to try and cover to now get repositioned much closer to that zone. I'm not quite sure how comfortable of the rotational path they're going to be able to find it. You can see Chico also just off in the distance there, and it is still looking like a pretty challenging zone to rotate into.
And DK, I feel like No Mercy has forced you and me to sort of swallow our words. We came in predicting a little bit more of aggressive start to this, at least this match 4, as opposed to yesterday. But what we're seeing is the high rollers of the tournament right now. No Mercy really utilizing the slow play here, trying to get to the end game before even going for a lot of kills. And this is, you know, honestly, I agree with it, but it's just not the same No Mercy that as we saw yesterday. They're keeping everyone on their toes, and here we have it. That's Attitude with a takedown, and this will be their second kill if they can acquire that thirst.
Yeah, but what we're seeing a lot more of today is going to be a lot more of the strategic approaches, right? The teams not just going to be rushing on forward. Yesterday, I kind of understand that because the teams are trying to establish themselves on the overall standings. Today, it seems like they're going to come in with a little bit more refinement, trying to kind of apply the pressure where it needs to be. And of course, if we look on towards the players here from the Toxic Theras, they also bring in a very, very calculated approach to sneaking onto this very edge of zone, trying to capitalize on any potential angles they can find.
Yeah, they're being some belly bandits right now, trying to lay low and let these numbers dwindle. All the while, we got the crew in Cave still facing off against No Mercy, but letting their guard down to the crew in Ace of Spades. Bombay creeps silently over. He could have a great third-party opportunity right here. And oof, he's gonna go for it. Cave is eliminated. Bombay trying to get some work in on No Mercy while they're weakened. Pardon us, that little eliminated sign is covering our view of whether or not the knock happened. But it doesn't look like it did connect, unfortunately, for Bombay. But keep in mind, he's still got some more to go, and he still has two teammates up and ready to go. Pardon, what are words? And No Mercy does have a member down, drenching themselves in a wet smoke cover they can, and Bombay making it rain hellfire, just continuing this assault of utilities.
Yeah, but I mean, you got to respect the efforts being put in here by Mumbai, trying relentlessly to get those angles into No Mercy, and in turn showing them absolutely no mercy. But up comes the spray now. It's just finding a little bit of damage. Nothing is sufficient just yet, but they will still continue with the efforts. As we can see now, it is going to be Sashir now taking aim over on the players there from Toxic Terrors, as they also then get eliminated. A quick little bit of cleanup coming through there from the Panthers as well. But now it is going to be a sneaky approach coming through here from Mumbai. We can see Chico also starting to push on forward. The teams again looking to get themselves situated, moving into the zone. Titans still in the mix already, coming in on those double digits, trying to make it as much of a successful run as they can manage. But there we go. Those knocks continuing to fly on in, and will the Titans pick up yet another absolutely glorious performance like we saw yesterday?
Well, I've got my eyes on No Mercy, man. Like, I'm absolutely loving their gameplay today, building off of yesterday, but doing that slower start today and then utilizing that aggression come in-game. And look, they went from 1 kill to 5 kills in a matter of just a few minutes, and we see Attitude pushing forward with Bangash and Shasir aimed in with eyes on members of Ace of Spades. It could spell trouble for them. All the while, the Titans aiming in at the Panthers, trying to rain some utilities, and there's Attitude with another takedown on Mama. Ace, Mumbai retaliates on Shasir and Bangash, and that is unfortunate for the crew in No Mercy. They had their eyes set on that in-game aggression. Unfortunately for them, the Ace of Spades boys shutting it down pretty early there.
Yeah, Ace of Spades really looking to drive this one home. Such a great improvement that we've been seeing come in. Of course, it is going to be the Panthers to be eliminated next, and now we find it is the Ace of Spades going up against Titan for that winner chicken dinner. Pretty competitive play. We know Titans picking up 14 eliminations just yesterday and a pretty good run so far today, already sitting on 10, but will they be able to steal that winner chicken dinner from the clutches of Ace of Spades?
Well, DK, I could not be more excited. We are left to end round 1 with a 3v3, a fair fight. Ace of Spades, Titans, let's get it. We got Mumbai trying to put down a little bit of cloud cover here, a little smoke cover, all the while Puncher trying to utilize some Hellfire mollies on top of that smoke, not getting any connecting damage. We see Versa cooking up some nades of his own, and guys, if there's any notes to take, it is definitely how important utilities are come in-game.
Yeah, absolutely essential. As we can see, this is now quite the trying play, but the Ace of Spades, they're not going to be backing off as they try to find that angle on towards B6. The rush comes through, but instead it's going to be Mumbai to get traded on down. Vertha now trying to bring in a little bit of an assistance here, quickly utilizing that vehicle. Up comes yet another rush. Titans look to get this one in the bag. Out comes the rush, the push, and it is going to be a takedown on Puncher. Versa still in the mix, not going to be backing out just yet. They're going to try and close this one up, and this could be the potential victory as the Titans step up and they reign supreme, walking away with an absolutely glorious 16 eliminations to their name.
Well, it is undebatable, undisputable, irrefutable. The Titans not only deserve that match, they deserve that win, and boy, did they do so aggressively. Taking first place with, as you said, 16 kills between 3 players. Unbelievable performance on their end. Let's give credit to where credit is due. Ace of Spades putting up 4 kills as well, able to get that second place placement, I guess. Not bad at all. It's going to help them out. But however, that high kill count for the Titans and that placement put together, that is going to give them a huge leap forward in the standings. We got the Panthers grabbing 3rd place with 6 kills overall. And then there's the eyes on the team, for at least for me, a focal point for me, No Mercy, grabbing 4th place. Not too bad in terms of placement at all, with 5 kills too. So it's not going to be a bad match for them. It's not as good as they've been performing, but I think, given their little bit of cushioning, it's going to be okay for them. We got the crew in Toxic Terror grabbing 5th place with 4 kills overall, Cave in 6th with 5, and Bope in 7th with 1 kill from Babe, and so on and so forth. DK, what's your takeaway after match 1?
I mean, I got to say, we really need to give it to the Titans, right? Yesterday, they came in, they finished in 3rd place, and they finished with 14 eliminations, right? Today, they stepped it up, they dialed it up to the next stage. They got the winner chicken, then a 16 eliminations. Absolutely phenomenal play. But I got to say, in general, right, there is a little bit of a shift in the dynamics, right? Yesterday, we also did see the players from Cave finishing in 2nd. This time around, only managing 6th place. So it does mean that we are seeing a few more teams now really trying to push the envelope as far as they can. And even the players coming through there from the Panthers just blowing it out of the water. Yesterday in Erangel, only 2 points. This time around, I mean, they picked up 6 eliminations alongside that third place finish. So an absolutely glorious performance coming in.
Yeah, I think the name of the game for today is revision. A lot of players just seeing what didn't work out so well yesterday and fixing it from there. But guys, no time to waste. Let's go have a look-see at the scores as they are. Well, we got our MVP, Titan P6, putting up 8 kills and 870 damage. You know what that tells me, DK, is that this man knows how to utilize his kills. And every bit of damage he puts out, he does so with an opportunity for a thirst. There's not a whole lot of extra shots being utilized. He aims in and he gets his kills.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful trade-off to see come through. I mean, P6 stepping up, earning a very well-deserved MVP. Yesterday, there was Puncher, also from Titan. So there's definitely something happening in the Titan camp, right? And it makes me so excited to see how they're going to try and now kind of translate that into a performance on Miramar as well as over onto Sanhok. Because if the Titans keep this pressure up, it could be a really phenomenal day for them, and they could be finishing quite substantially on the overall standings itself.
Yeah, the Titans are no doubt feeling that serotonin and dopamine coming from that dub. But if they let that confidence turn to cockiness, it could spell trouble. But obviously, very well deserved. The most valuable team of match 1 is going to be the Titans as well, with 2,238 damage, 16 kills, and 2 of those from nades. Absolutely monstrous performance on their end.
I mean, it was a little bit of a runaway play coming through, but of course, as we jump over into our leaderboard, the Titans just reigning supreme once again. I mean, stepping up. Look at the balance coming through with regards to placement and eliminations. It is almost even. It is such a phenomenal play coming in from them. But we want to see that kind of now translate across to the other teams as well, right? We want to see that push coming through across the board, and it could be a very surprising finish.
Yeah, interestingly enough to note, ladies and gentlemen, that little bit of cushioning that I was talking about for No Mercy, well, I don't think they're feeling that cushioning anymore, as Titan Gaming surpassed them by 4 points. But boy, oh boy, is it a close match. They're at each other's heels. No Mercy and Titan Gaming spread apart by only 4 points. It is going to be interesting how this plays out. And the same can be said between the Panthers and Cave, as well as Cave and Ace of Spades, both tied at 40 points. We got a lot of close calls here.
Yeah, a lot of close calls there, but I'm loving the fact that the Panthers actually jumped all the way up into that third place. So good play coming through. We know they started off the day sitting over in 5th position. I'm still curious to see at what point the Green Daggers are going to be looking to push it in. I mean, I was rooting for them at the end of yesterday. I'm still going to be rooting for them low-key through the rest of the day, and I'm hoping that they step up with a few of those surprising performances. But got to say, an absolutely glorious play coming through on Erangel, and it makes me quite excited to see what the teams are going to be bringing through over on Miramar.
Yeah, guys, well, as we've said, we've seen how our players handle the very first map ever, Erangel, but now it's time to take things to the wide open desert of Miramar. And what might have worked on this map is not necessarily going to be the main strategy to go to for a map like Miramar. And so only time can tell as we move forward. We got 2 more rounds of action, mayhem, and strategy coming your way, guys. This is the PUBG Mobile Independence Tournament Finals. Stick around. We'll be back soon. Boys and girls, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. We're going to be kicking off round 2 of the PUBG Mobile Independence Tournament Finals, and you guessed it, is going to be a Miramar. Now, what needs to be said about Miramar? Well, basically, it's the largest map in the game. Technically, Erangel is the same size as an 8x8, but that includes Erangel's bodies of water. So realistically, this is going to be the largest map that we're going to be working with, DK, meaning that the odds of two teams landing next to each other is probably going to be a bit slimmer. But as we both know, it's also the most open map that we have in the game, meaning the odds of you being sniped from 300 meters away just a little bit higher. What are your predictions for this match?
Oh, I mean, this is definitely the match in which I'd like to see the Panthers and Cave just kind of driving a little bit harder. I mean, they're currently about 29 points-ish away from catching up to the Titans. So I'm curious to see who's going to try and deliver a lot of aggression coming through. Of course, we see Cave and Ace of Spades, both teams sitting on a very comfortable 40 points apiece. But that doesn't give them enough comfort just yet, right? They really have to drive it as hard as they can. And I'm curious to see whether or not someone is actually going to try and potentially focus on applying a little bit of pressure coming through onto the Titans moving into Miramar.
Well, there's really only one team that can apply that immediate pressure on the Titans, and that's going to be the boys in No Mercy. With such a phenomenal performance yesterday, No Mercy gave themselves a little bit of cushioning room, as I said earlier. However, they didn't do too bad in round 1. I believe they got 4th or 5th place with like 5 kills or so, something around there. So they did actually do pretty well in terms of placement and kills, giving them a nice little chunk of points, but Titans performed at such an elevated level that they surpassed them by 4. Well, guys, no time to waste. Here we see the flight path, and it is going to be very centralized, very opportunistic for our participants, leaving them with a ton of options in terms of where they drop. This could be a little bit less beneficial for us, the viewer, just because it might mean a slower, more spread out start. But you know what I always say, DK, a more passive early game always directly translates to a more action-packed and climactic mid or end game, so it's going to be worth the trade if you ask me.
Yes, sir, it is going to be worth the trade, but I'm curious to see what kind of shift the team is going to bring in. Already great showing on Erangel, but now it's going to be time for those long-range engagements. But looking at the team starting to disembark, making their way on down, we see the players there from Aces pulling up in towards Ace of Spades, rather, pulling up in towards Impala. The zone is going to be taking a little bit of a swing further up onto the northern edges. And I got to say, I'm actually liking this quite a bit, right? This is really going to put the teams to the test, and they're going to have to come up with some very creative plays to get themselves situated. And this is, of course, the polar opposite of what we saw in yesterday's Miramar, right? Yesterday it moved down south, and today it's up north.
That's a great observation right there. And speaking of interesting plays, we got No Mercy pulling what, you know, some might argue is a kind of a risky play, getting the very first moment to drop down and heading outside of the plane, dropping straight down to Puerto Paicio. And luckily for them, their little bit of strategy here is paying off. They don't really have anyone too close next to them for a good ways. Their closest threat is going to be Ace of Spades northbound at Impala. But less fortunate, we got the crew in Green Dagger, and it looks like they are going to be in the midst of none other than Egotistical. All the while,
Proving Grounds.
We got Toxic Terror and Nova facing off a little further off eastbound. It looks like Kindness was thirsted as well, leaving Nova as a 3-piece of Yi, Rin, and Koi.
Yep, I mean, you can see them just duking it out over towards the crater there towards La Bendita. But now, right back up in towards Monte Nuevo, we can see Green Dagger trying to play a little bit of an elevated position, at least coming through here from Medallion that we've got all the way up on this ridge. That could be an absolutely substantial kind of elevated vantage point to try and utilize. But it's all going to come down to how the players from Egotistical are going to be making their way through Monte Nuevo, as we see them situated a little bit more on that northern edge. But they've got a great escape route should they decide to utilize that, right? They have that northern rotation that they can bring on through.
Well, I am going to give credit to where credit is due. I like the 3-1 split that Green Dagger is doing, giving them enough of a team to advance upon their opponents in Egotistical, but leaving a safeguard back there, a little last trick in the pocket, basically having one guy that can get out of that action if need be and get those placement points for his team. All the while, Egotistical holding place as a singular unit, and as you can see, both teams trying to utilize that punch glitch to mute their footsteps as they get closer and closer to one another.
Yeah, but this is going to be a very important engagement for Egotistical, right? Currently, we know that they are sitting relatively on the lower end of that leaderboard, right? We find them with only 7 points to their name. Green Dagger, 12 points ahead of them. So this altercation is going to be absolutely essential for Egotistical if they're looking to move themselves out of that 15th position and aiming for some higher angles. But it's all going to come down how they utilize the 3-player team that they started this match off. And I think with that, it is going to bring in a few problems of its own. But I mean, Yi not having any problems with spray whatsoever.
Yeah, this is Nova playing the big bad wolf over Toxic Terror, just picking them off. We see Ren scoping in 3x on a barrel, aimed in at members of Toxic Terror, and there it is, Koi just getting the elimination right then and there. Actually, it's Ren who gets the vehicle explosion. Nicely done. Bye-bye, Toxic Terror. Eliminated in last place.
Wow, I mean, that is pretty tough to have. But speaking about tough, right? Green Dagger, Egotistical still going to be trying to make their dance happen in and around this northern edge of Monte Nuevo. But again, right, it does seem like Green Dagger trying to play this one a little bit more cautiously. They still have Medallion positioned up on that high elevated position, but we don't really see them being able to reach across and find a clear line of sight on towards Egotistical. So, I mean, that is quite the big brain play actually coming through from Egotistical, right? Kind of sticking to their guns, not going to be lured or baited out to move closer to Green Dagger.
Well, a lot of pressure riding on Green Dagger. They started off in the top half of the bracket at the start of the day, but unfortunately for them, just did not have the match one that they were hoping for. So all the pressure is riding on these last two matches. And so it makes sense to me that they're playing things a little bit conservative, at least towards the beginning half of the match. They want to at least get that placement points before they go out seeking those kills. However, they are in a position here where they are awaiting Egotistical to put themselves in a moment of vulnerability, putting themselves out in the open so Green Dagger can capitalize. The problem here for that is that Egotistical is waiting for the exact same thing from Green Dagger. So this could leave us with a bit of a standoff that could go on for quite some time.
It definitely could go on for quite some time, but at some point they need to make a decision. And we could also potentially see Goat, all the players there from Bope, actually rotating up into this region as well, as both of them are relatively close nearby. And depending on where they choose to move, it could potentially mean that those rotations could be heading in that direction. So I'd love to see that kind of conclusion of that Monte Nuevo potential engagement come through. But of course, speaking about potential engagements, it is going to be Battle for Glory, and the players here from Puppeteers now looking to explore their options, as it is going to be Orly Stark now to get taken right on down. A beautiful rush coming in, while the rest of the team from Battle for Glory are just going to be trying to get themselves situated on those high grounds.
Yeah, and all the while, the standoff continues between the Egotistical Green Dagger folks. And both of these teams have that compound cover here with a little bit of space between them. And so, yes, as I said in match one, they're in a bit of a standoff to where they might be able to get eyes on their opponent and get the knock. But the odds of being able to secure the thirst are a bit trickier for them. So, moving on back to the Puppeteers and Battle for Glory. Battle for Glory already been reduced down to a 3-person team. It looks like Stark, as we saw, was eliminated fairly early on there. Vigles trying to scope in with the Scar L, but he's got a bit of space in between himself and his opponent. We'll see how it continues out. All the while, Green Dagger holding position at this point as a full 4-piece, still looking pretty strong. Vigles aiming in 4x Scar L, no connecting damage.
Yeah, and I mean, we see back in Monte Nuevo, it is going to be the players from GOAT rotating up to that position as well. So it could be a little bit more pressure now being applied on both teams situated up in towards Monte Nuevo. But meanwhile, right, Battle for Glory rather, are going to be keeping a steady position. Going to be waiting to see what the Puppeteers will do. And of course, the answer is the Puppeteers are going to come rushing a little bit closer, as we can see Fang and Reckless now just on the opposite end, trying to apply the pressure, looking to see if they can find these angles coming in through onto Viglis. But, oh, look at the off-angle plays now. Nova also stepping into the fray here.
Yeah, and I was going to say, this is an important moment for Viglis to pay attention to that kill feed, because if he did, he would have taken notice that the Puppeteers just had a member knocked at the hands of Nova. So this is his real time to shine, be it to actually fall back or to engage. He's got to make the move, but immediate action is called upon there, as his opponent was just taken down in the third party. It's all opportunity for him at this point.
Yeah, a very, very decisive position. Of course, just as I was about to point it out, Viglis does look down towards that southern edge. You can see the players there from Cave also now being mobilized, and they could be venturing up right alongside Battle for Glory, so there could be even more pressure coming through. Meanwhile, back down in towards Monte Nuevo, Culprit about to face up against Gold Dagger, Green Dagger rather, as we can see the entire squad now looking to apply the pressure, push on forward, making their way compound by compound, looking to see if they can find the squad from Egotistical, but still it's not going to be as easy of a job, as Egotistical still have a beautiful bit of a spread coming through.
And that was a monster nade by Culprit, taking Aussie down. Interestingly enough, to note the difference in strategy between these two teams. Green Dagger operating as a singular unit, Egotistical doing a little bit more of a spread out approach here, but not too far apart, as Dewey is still able to get the revive on his fallen teammate Culprit, leaving a lot of pressure riding on Thirst to do the overwatch and cover fire here. And they've got 2 members of Green Dagger knocked, so it is a pretty fair trade. However, Culprit is back up and about. Lucy trying to keep the pressure on with that UMP-45. Dewey aiming in with a AK-47, trying to get eyes on Lucy all the while. And ooh boy, the standoff rages on here. Dewey does put some shots down, all the while exposing himself from the side, taking a huge load of damage, brought down to just maybe 20% of his overall health, and Lucy coming in with some quick work there on Dewey.
Oh, gotta love the show of aggression coming through now, but they need to be quick on their feet, as we can see both the players there from the Panthers also now pulling on forward, being lured in by the shots being fired off the cacophony of the spray, and you can see the background. It is going to be the players from Pope now applying the pressure down onto the Panthers, as they now quickly try to just scatter and disperse, looking to see if they can find a little bit of contentious position to move into. But again, the fight will continue, and this is now at the point rather where it could take such a drastic shift.
Yeah, and a lot of the pressure is on the Panthers here. They have no room for error. If they are in the top contention here, Egotistical eliminated right there and then in 15th place. But the Panthers, a very high-performing team today, putting themselves in 3rd place overall with 44 points. They have a lot of opportunity here to close that gap between themselves and their higher-ups, No Mercy and Titan Gaming. So they absolutely need the placement. They absolutely need the kills. Not a whole lot of room for error. So I expect to see a bit more hesitancy from them in the first half, but we'll have to see how it plays out.
Yeah, I definitely looking to see a clear strategy being applied here. But now Panthers trying to quickly come to some form of an assessment, as we can see Goat starting to move up as well. And again, now this is where the plot starts to thicken, even more teams being added to the mix. But it's going to be a very essential play coming through for the Panthers. They're looking to defend that 3rd place that they are holding on to. Both not too far away from them, right? Only 9 points separating the players from Bope and the Panthers. But this could be quite an impactful play coming through now from the players of Goat, as we can see that knock finding its way on towards Babe. But where are the Panthers going to be looking to rotate towards?
Well, their options are limited for sure. And keep in mind, guys, the Panthers is at this point operating as just a 2-person team, half their original starters now. That's absolutely going to make a change in their strategy. They're going to have to dial things back from that aggressive approach that they were utilizing earlier to a more passive, more maybe not passive is not the right word, a more conservative approach by far, and letting those opportunities present themselves to them rather than themselves presenting themselves as opportunities to the opponent.
Yeah, and it's going to be quite essential to see how that one will play on out. As you can see, Bape is now going to be confirmed. So that brings the players here from Bope down to only Necrox, as they now just look to secure their vehicle within the compounds. Cave also still in the mix, right? We can see them being positioned over towards that eastern side. A 3-1 split coming through, and I think this is a good rotation coming in with a little bit of anticipation of teams coming up from the east as well. We can see Rin from the side of Nova now going to be looking to push a little bit further up, as they are looking to show their aggression onto the players there from Ace of Spades. And this could be quite an essential play coming through now, looking at Nova.
Yeah, and I do love what the KV Esports was doing with that 3-1 split. We were talking about that little extra trick in your back pocket, that little bit of insurance factor, having that one member further away as Tapaka hangs back. All the while, Nova just aiming in at Ace of Spades, Yi trying to give him a little bit of bullying on Mombay. However, it looks like Versa is going to try to retaliate with a utility of his own. Aimed in, is it going to connect? Ooh, very close. Does some damage, but not a significant amount enough. Blinky going to try to add on to that damage, making it rain hellfire in the form of grenades. However, not able to get that knock. However, once again, I keep saying however, but Cave coming in from behind and doing a little work as well. Both Esports eliminated just then, but Nova is facing a bit of a third party here.
Yeah, I mean, Cave coming up like moss to a flame. They hear the shots going off and they step up, trying to clear it up as they now find that confirmation on towards Rin. And with that, locks in their second elimination. But will they be able to reach all the way across? We did see off in the distance that Yi is trying to get that quick rotation secured, trying to bring in that longevity now for the Nova team. But Ace of Spades going to be licking their wounds rather, as they also now just need to regroup, re-strategize, and then get a good rotation secured. There are a lot of options available with regards as to where they can go, especially looking at the openness up in towards the northern territories, and taking into consideration that El Pozo is within this region. But again, it is going to be quite a difficult play to try and find that ideal position to rotate in towards, because the teams, they don't necessarily have all the necessary information to make these really difficult decisions.
And I think you're right. I think they're probably making the right call in licking their wounds and bowing out, because as you said, Ace of Spades is a very high-performing team today, tied with KV Sports between 4th and 5th, and both have 40 points here, so it's a lot riding on these last two matches. So I do agree with their option. However, to rotate away in a smoking vehicle is risky. All the while, the Panthers and the Goats, these two teams are just at each other's throats every single match. It seems like the past 3 matches they've been facing off, and now the Goats get revenge on the Panthers for what happened in match 1, and now the Panthers eliminated in 13th place. This is going to be absolutely pivotal. The third placing team eliminated early on is going to change things up for everyone else on the board.
Yeah, they were fighting hoof and nail, and with that, we did see the Goats being a little bit more successful in finding those sprays, yes. But looking at our remaining teams, we are down to 12, 41 players left. And now it is going to be the players there from No Mercy feeling the pressure come through, as it is going to be the players from Strangers DB looking to line it up. Meanwhile, Alter Esports up on the ridge line alongside the players from Battle for Glory. A beautiful elevated position to be in. Unfortunately for them, there's not sufficient players positioned down below, but this could instead mean that they're going to be focusing in on each other to bring in a little bit of a, a higher tier engagement.
Yeah, and it does seem that both Battle for Glory and Ultra Esports had a little bit of the same approach here, wanting to get that early positioning, claim that high ground, and get some Overwatch. Titans, all the while, starting to do some work now on the Puppeteers. Titans have been doing the slow play up until this point for Match 2, which has been a little bit surprising to me just because of how many kills they were able to put up in round 1. So we've gone so far over half the duration of the match, and they hadn't put up any kills, but I guess they are going to be utilizing that all-out aggression tactic come the second half of the match, as we see Puncher getting a takedown on one of the Puppeteers. All the while, Cave and GKS aiming in at one another. We got Zadira trying to rain some nades down on Achilles. Achilles trying to retaliate with some nades of his own.
Well, let's see where this one is going to go. Cave now just quickly trying to get themselves patched up before rushing forward. GKS looking pretty good. just holding strong. As we can see, Achilles tempting that ridge line. Out comes the utilities. It is going to be quite a bit of damage now down on towards Zadira. So all that effort being brought through now just getting reduced once again. Up comes Rivas. Oh, Zadira gets knocked on down. And this is going to be that opportunity now for GKS to steal the vehicle and maybe just tighten their position up on towards Cave. But still a very substantial position being held here by Cave.
And this is, as we said, we've been talking about Cave Esports. They have a ton riding on these next two matches here. So the fact that Zadira is out of the mix now, Keith is now not. All the pressure riding on Limbo and Tapoka, it is going to be a heated moment here. Tapoka taking a huge load of health and the nade to get him down. All that is left now is Limbo with nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. And oh my goodness, Cave Esports eliminated early on in 12th place. This is going to be absolutely detrimental for them, and it could be a pivotal moment for Ace of Spades, who previously tied with them at 40 points.
I have to agree with you on that one, but I gotta say, what a phenomenal push that was coming through here from GKS. I mean, it does seem like they've come into today really trying to prove themselves, bring in much more longevity and survivability going through these games. We can see them now being included in our top 11 teams, but it has been quite a good run for them. 4 eliminations, and one of the few teams that are still on a full squad. So I'm curious to see how they're going to try and bring us those rotations as they now move to the next phase. Meanwhile, it is going to be the players here from Ace of Spades now trying to exchange a few shots there with the players from the Puppeteers, but it's going to be a very hidden play to try and make, as a Nemesis also now bumping into a few obstacles along the way. But this could be a glorious rotational play for the Ace of Spades. You can see them now trying to pull into that western edge of the zone.
Yeah, they're getting closer and closer to the last remaining member of Nova, which is Yi, and whether or not he chooses to engage could be a pivotal moment for him. I think the right move is to probably lay low here, and I think he knows it. As he tries to work his way on to the edge of zone here, he is going to have to keep eyes out for the opponents in Strangers BD, who are doing a little bit more of a spread approach and could catch eyes on him pretty easily, depending on how it goes down. All the while, Ace of Spades trying to do work on the winners and dominators of round 1, Titan Gaming. As we said, Titan having a bit slower of a start here with only 1 kill to their name, but they are going to be facing off against Ace of Spades. Ace of Spades with a little bit of high ground advantage. Versa taken down, leaving everything riding on Mom Bay, and Mom Bay alone at this point. Ooh.
Wow. I mean, Teak just absolutely blazing through there. As you can see, knock after knock coming in. But now it's going to be Buncher cooking up that nades. The players there from Green Dagger get eliminated. Up comes a hit, and down they go, locking it in. Ace of Spades get blown to smithereens. Meanwhile, Puppeteers also now stepping up, trying to clutch it out. Strangers also facing off, and this is all over the place. I mean, I'm loving this aggression coming through as the teams now just look to solidify their finishing positions.
Yeah, this is all-out bloodbath warfare coming in the second half of the match, and it is tragic to see it again, but Green Dagger, a team who had a lot of eyes on them, eliminated in 10th place this time around. They are having a much rougher day than previously. However, Yi eliminated right then and there. It is going to be it for Nova Esports, but however, Yi was able to get some decent placement for his team.
Yeah, a good effort being brought in, but as we can see now, it's going to be Ash picking up the hits all the way over on towards Ray on that hillside. A very exposed play coming through for the players there from Alta Esports, but a good change up, right? Again, they now this time around for today being able to survive up into that top 5. So great improvement on yesterday's Miramar game. But as we can see, it is going to be still a very, very risky play as that blue zone is going to start closing in within the next few seconds. So whatever rotation they want to bring on in, they have to do it now. No Mercy is going to be just camping on the edge of that zone. Ooh, the players from Strangers actually now in a very difficult position as they have a few explosions being exchanged there. We can see the Goats also now looking to apply the pressure onto the Titans, but it's going to be a very ranged assault, and that is no stranger on Miramar. But up comes the hits, the sprays. It is going to be 2 players down. Oh, P6 getting eliminated, and Titan now only sitting on 2 potential hopefuls. Scratch that, make it 3.
Yeah, keep in mind though, Titans just a few moments ago were a full 4-person team, but they were also a full 4-person team with 1 kill to their name. In that brief 2 minute period, they were able to jump up to 6 kills. So while they are just down to 3 people, now they're down to 1 person. All the pressure riding on Puncher, but you cannot rule out a team like Titan Esports. However, things are starting to look a little bit grim in their favor, and it looks like it's not over yet. However, I withdraw my previous statement. Puncher's still hanging by the hair on his chin. They were able to actually get some pretty decent kills on the board, and as long as Puncher holds position, I mean, they are getting good placement pretty much no matter what, placing in the top 5 at worst.
Yeah, but I gotta say, there's 2 really beautiful positions being played here. Looking at GOAT, really spreading it out, trying to cover as many angles as they can. Already sitting on 15 eliminations. This could potentially be the game for GOAT, but it's far from over. As you can see, the players from Strangers just held up ahead of them, trying to see what they can piece together. But I'm liking the play coming through from Alton, right? They've snuck into the northern edge of zone. They've just hunkered down, and now they're gonna see what they can do with that position. Strangers, of course, going to be trying to patch themselves up before pushing forward.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and just be the opposite I guess the devil's advocate here. When it comes to Alter Gaming, yes, they were able to push themselves in zone, but I think they're going to find themselves potentially in a rough position as they're sandwiched in between Titan Gaming and No Mercy, 2 of the top performing teams here. And as I said, that Puncher is eliminated. iCaster cursed him, but good on him for getting those placement points. And Titan Gaming eliminated in 5th this time around. The GOAT still just adding on to their superb amount of kills here as they can take another member down. They still have 15 kills to their name and some knocks on top of that. Looking extremely strong, and as a full 4-person team, this is their match right here.
Yeah, it is a glorious run. Look at Piper go to work, stepping up and finding the Strangers team. Down they go. And that now adds to the tally, 18 eliminations in total as Ash also gets traded up. And this could be the play for GOAT, right? They are bringing in such a substantial push to try and move themselves out of that 9th position. We know that they came into this match sitting on 25 points to their name, already sitting on 18 eliminations. I mean, that's almost meeting their entire performance through the previous 4 matches in one single game.
Yeah, and I've got my eyes on Bangash from No Mercy here. All the pressure riding on him as he is being focused in upon by the GOATs. He's outside his zone, and all he really wants is just to lay low and let these 2 teams fight it out so he can just jump up to 2nd place. Unfortunately for him, he's got a little bit of a ways to go into zone. Well, anyways, we got Kiki firing outward at members of the GOATs with a M16 aimed in at Coda, but not getting the connecting damage that he was hoping for. We got Lay trying to have his back there, providing the damage and the overwatch with a 3x Scar-L. I withdraw my statement on damage. He was not able to get any hits on Ray, but however, he is taking a lot of damage in retaliation, being brought down to below half health.
I gotta love the strategy coming through from GOAT. I mean, they've pretty much lined up in single file, and now they look to push forward and close up that zone. They also hold the controlling positions moving into this phase. And this is where No Mercy now tries to bring a little bit of that heal strat, as we can see Bangash now trying to hold on for dear life. But GOAT, they've got this one pretty much in the bag. Oh, up comes the nade as they find a little bit of an opening to create now. Bangash just narrowly escaping that knock, but would he be able to pull off this mid in the nick of time? It is going to be Piper, however, on the opposite end now, who also will find themselves in a little bit of a challenging position. Up comes the sprays. Ray gets eliminated. Bangash stealing a quick shot in there. Oh, and down they go. It is going to be up to that final push now. This is going to be the play for GOAT to try and secure that winner chicken dinner. As you can see, the players coming through there from Alta just being absolutely spread out. And it is now up to Kiki, the final hopeful. Up comes the hits, the sprays. Will that chicken dinner be awarded to GOAT? Oh, down they go. GOAT getting taken on down. Up comes Alf as well.
Yeah, now we got ourselves a 2v1. All the pressure riding on Kiki, holding that position with only a hay bale to hold as cover, and he does go for the thirst, interestingly enough. And in doing so, it might have been the wrong move as he left himself vulnerable on the side and was picked off. But ultimately, GOAT, just a freaking phenomenal performance. 21 kills, 3,542 damage. This is a huge jump up in terms of aggression than anything that we have seen in the entirety of this tournament. 21 kills and 3,500 damage is unprecedented so far in this event. These guys are the big bad wolves. What are your thoughts, DK?
I mean, GOAT being goated, right? As they pushed up through this match on Miramar. I mean, they came in sitting on 25 points, right? They walk away with 21 eliminations alongside that winner chicken dinner. That puts them on a total of 36 points, right? So they were able to bring in one single match the totality of both points that they had on the standings. I mean, that is absolutely insane. That puts them well in the 50s, and that could potentially mean a third place for them after just this match.
Yeah, before this, they needed a miracle to have a shot at this, and that miracle happened in match 2. Now, whether or not they can keep that going into match 3 is yet to be seen. But guys, let's go down the list. We got Alter Gaming grabbing second place with 4 kills between Ray and Kiki. No Mercy in third with 2. We'll go down that list later on, further on, but let's go ahead and have a look at the MVP for match 2. Well, this should be no surprise to anyone, but it's going to go to Goat Pipero with 8 kills to his name, 933 damage total. And this is kind of the same situation that we said for Titans last match, is they are picking their fights carefully and utilizing their damage, making the most of it, making sure all their damage shot out is effective and getting as many kills as possible per the damage dealt.
Yeah, I mean, that is such a great run coming through them, and no surprise to see GOAT then also being our most valued team. 21 eliminations. I mean, that is absolutely insane, but 3,500 damage. I mean, those are some pretty crazy numbers, but it's also no surprise looking at just how active the GOAT team was making their way through Miramar. So very well-deserved winner chicken dinner coming to them.
Yeah, those are borderline disgusting numbers. That is a ridiculous high number of damage to put up, but phenomenal performance on the GOAT team, and that is absolutely going to put them in the running here, as we'll see moving forward. But guys, we have seen how our players handle the very first map ever, Erangel. We've seen how they handle that wide open desert of Miramar, but we're going to be moving forward to the lush forest of Sanhok soon. But before we do that, let's have a look-see at how close this is actually becoming. Titan Gaming still holding a lead here of 4 points over No Mercy's head. They are at each other's heels, clutch and clutch, right at each other's throats here for this first place title here. And look what GOAT team was able to do, starting off match 2 at 9th place and bumping themselves all the way up to 3rd with 61 points total. There is admittedly a little bit of a gap between themselves and 2nd place, but hey, if they have a performance like that in match 2, anything's possible come match 3. We got the Panthers in 4th place with 45 and Cave in 5th with 43, so they are also at each other's throats. A lot of close contention amongst these top 5 teams, even top 6.
Yeah, but I just want to point out GOAT's 40 eliminations. Right, Titans sitting on 42 and GOAT sitting on 40. Now, if GOAT is able to have another glorious run, this could be quite a substantial gain for them to make, and that could actually elevate them all the way up into that 2nd position ahead of No Mercy. But it's going to be a super challenging run to pull that one off. But we've seen now GOAT possessing the capability of bringing in an absolutely extraordinary performance. So this makes me quite hopeful, but also quite excited to see what's going to happen once we move into Sanhok.
Yeah, they are going to need a phenomenal performance again, but along with that, they need to ensure that No Mercy has a bad performance. And, that's going to be kind of the determinant as we move forward. How is No Mercy going to handle things in this last match? Well, as I said, guys, we saw how things were handled on Erangel. We saw how things were handled in the wide open desert of Miramar. But coming at you in just a few short moments, we'll be back with our 3rd and final round of the day in the lush condensed forest of Sanhok. Stick around. This is the PUBG Mobile Independence Well, alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, everything has led up to this moment. We are going to be concluding the PUBG Mobile Independence Tournament Finals with, you guessed it, a Sanhok match. Now, what needs to be said about Sanhok? Well, DK, it's basically the exact opposite of our last match. Last match was Miramar, which is our largest map. This is going to be our smallest. And it's not just our smallest, but it's also our most condensed map. Now, what do I mean when I say condensed? I mean it's the most lush in vegetation. There's more natural cover to take, more grass to hide inside, and trees and boulders to hide behind. So you absolutely need to be alert for a higher than average number of snakes than usual. But also, a technique that we tend to see utilized specifically on Sanhok is that heal strat. People hanging out in the dead zone with an absurd number of first aids, just trying to let those numbers dwindle down. We'll have to see as we move forward. And the third and final thing I want to say about Sanhok is that the map is so small that it finds itself pretty independent of the flight path. You can get pretty much anywhere you want on the map, regardless of the flight path, just by deploying your chute early enough. So with that being said, guys, let's get into it. Match 3, the final one for the PUBG Mobile Independence Tournament Finals.
Yes, sir. It is time to move. The flight path, of course, is going to be looking very centralized. So the teams will have great access to the majority of the map. As you said, putting the chute early enough could ensure the teams actually reaching their destination. But it's going to be everyone out just trying to break off, head in to their different angles here. But it's interesting to see the Titans actually dropping out relatively quickly, right? This time around, they are going to be moving up towards that Camp Alpha. Yesterday, we did see a little bit more of an eastern positioning coming through from them. But I'm curious to see what Titans and No Mercy are going to be doing, as it seems like Titans are dropping alongside No Mercy towards that Camp Alpha region. So this could be an absolutely brutal start to Sanhok.
Yeah, I was just about to bring attention to that. Guys, Titans and No Mercy are our top 1 and 2 placing teams, and they are spread apart by only 4 tiny points. So the fact that they are landing this close in proximity could be an all-out game changer here. And all the while, it looks like Ace of Spades aiming in at both Esports. And here at the Paradiso Paradise Resort, we got GKS facing off against the crew in Green Dagger.
Oh, I mean, this could be quite a bit of an exciting play. And this is kind of the only hard drop that we have at this point, right? Yesterday, we did see a great spread coming through up in towards that boot camp area as well. But for today, it is absolutely vacant. But now, Green Dagger feeling the pressure, as we can see Lucy getting knocked on in. GKS going to come rushing on forward, and this could be an absolute show of aggression from their front. Loving the kind of mentality GKS has brought into today's matches, right? Really looking to step up their performance, and they've been quite successful in doing exactly that. But now it's not in the back just yet. They need to push it all the way through and see whether or not they can close it up for the Green Daggers.
Yeah, in my opinion, if you're either of these teams, Green Dagger or GKS, the name of the game this go-around, this late in it, which should be just all-out aggression. Why not? Both of these teams are not doing entirely ideal in terms of placement. We got Green Dagger placed overall at 12th place with GKS in 14th. So realistically, they really couldn't just kind of have some fun with this very last match, you know? Maybe it can be about sending a message and saying, hey, we might not have placed, you know, in the top bracket, but we definitely belong to be here. We deserve to be here by all means, and we're going to show you right here and now.
I mean, speaking about having fun, right? One team that is not having fun is going to be the players coming through from Bopa. They've already been eliminated. So a very, very tough start coming through there from them. And I'm loving this early game aggression as the players there from Ace of Spades just came rushing on forward to lock those eliminations on in. But again, right, very much of this, well, very much, well, no English on my side, thank you. We are seeing a standoff coming through between GKS and the players here from Gold Dagger. Neither of these teams really wanting to be the next team to get sent away.
Yeah, and I can't help but feel a little bit sympathetic for the crew in Boat because they dropped super southbound outside the Bontai area, not thinking that they were going to have any immediate threat as they held on to the coast. But unfortunately for them, it looks like the boys in Ace of Spades had the same idea and just worked them off. But no worries, guys. We still have a couple altercations in the mix here. As we said, GKS and a little bit of a standoff here with Green Dagger. Green Dagger, Sari trying to pull a slight little flank here, seeing if he can catch a separate angle on the GKS crew. Maybe even going to be able to get eyes on Achilles from over there. We'll have to wait and see.
Ooh, but Kalega spots out Lucy. What a hit that was, though. Lucy with the next to 0 health, just narrowly escaping that one. But this could be that rush for Kalega to come pushing on forward. You can see Ozzy coming through with a defensive play there, able to get that knock in and provide a little bit of a helping chance to Lucy. But now, Kalega rotating back, Rivas holding a steady position, and Tonka and Achilles could now look to just fend off the advances from Green Dagger.
Yeah, Lucy just surviving by the hair on her chin, just by a hairline of health. But you know what? Good thing for her, or him or her, pardon me, is that they were boosted pretty well, and so able to build onto that health pretty quickly. And Lucy getting a nade onto Collage. I didn't see who that name was entirely, but a very well-placed nade there. And now aiming in at Rivas, this could be a absolutely pivotal moment here for Green Dagger.
Yeah, Kalega getting taken on down, so that is going to result in a collage of eliminations coming through for the players now of Green Daggers. They come rushing on forward. Lucy eager to push it as hard as they can manage it, but a beautiful reinforcement coming through there from Ozzy as well, and this could be the play for Green Dagger now to show that extra bit of aggression. Just going to be doing the dance around this boulder, trying to see if they can find the angles. They spot out this blaze, and down they go. Absolutely glorious one as we have the entirety of the players there getting eliminated. GKS having to pack up their bags and go back to the lobby.
And this is exactly what I was talking about. This is what I wanted to see from Green Dagger at this point. You know what? Have some fun with it and just play all out aggressive. Have a little bit of aggression in your tactics here, because why not? You're not going to be in the running for the top placement, but you are going to be able to send that final message, and that's exactly what they did, attacking GKS from their heart there and eliminating them pretty early on. That's not going to be a very good day here for GKS. They started off this match in 14th place and eliminated fairly early on. Well, here we got a pretty big focal point, the crew in No Mercy, with a bit of high ground on the first place winners right now of match 1, Titan Gaming. Only 4 points separates these top 2 teams here. We got Ash holding position with a nice little bit of high ground. P6 just below him, and we got Ash cooking up a utility. He is going to rain hellfire in the form of a grenade onto P6. Whether or not is going to be effective is yet to be seen.
But this is a very isolated engagement coming through between Ash and P6. Yes, we did see one of the other players there from Titan already falling. But again, I'm curious to see where the rest of the team is going to come from, right? As we can see, of course, it is going to be Bangash and, well, Shasir being positioned up in towards Camp Alpha, so they've got a decent line of sight right on towards P6. But the remainder of Titan, Teak and Puncher, they've not yet moved in, trying to alleviate a little bit of that pressure that P6 is currently experiencing.
Yeah, well, P6 finds himself in a bit of a conundrum, surrounded on multiple sides, and I think that the Titans have the right idea here with their 2-1 split. They don't want to put all their eggs in one basket. They don't want to put themselves in a position where by joining P6, they are putting themselves out in an early elimination. No, no, no. They have entirely too much riding on this, currently in first place, but their lead over No Mercy is just by a few short points, and we have Ash cooking up a nade for P6 right here and now. Whether it amounts to nothing, not even, well, I was going to say not even close, but it looks like P6 is actually getting shot by Shasir, Attitude, and Bangash as well. And there's the nade from Ash to do the final nail in the coffin. Beautifully timed. P6 is down and out. That is going to leave Titan Gaming down to a 2-person team of Puncher and Teak.
I think this is where the whole dynamic for Titan is actually going to be taking up quite a bit of a change. But what could be a bit of a saving grace actually for Titan could be the fact that GOAT has also now started to rotate up into that region as well. Meanwhile, the players from Green Dagger are now going to be trying to take their chances with the players here from the Puppeteers being positioned just up ahead of them. Is going to be a slow, sneaky approach coming in. As we can see, Lucy and the rest of the team from Green Dagger trying to play these elevated positions. It doesn't seem like the Puppeteers actually are aware of their current whereabouts.
Yeah, and this is, again, exactly what I wanted from Green Dagger. Wasting no time, getting out of the frying pan into the fire as Lucy takes down SGG right there, and then this is going to be her first kill, his or her first kill, and the 5th kill for Green Dagger. And
well,
they're pushing
speaking about fifth, there was 5 points separating Puppeteer and Green Dagger coming into this match. with Green Dagger being the team position just up ahead. And it does seem like they're making quite a substantial push, trying to close that out. And now the players there from Puppeteer, they've been reduced down to only Reckless and Feng, as we can see them being positioned towards that western side, relatively close to the bridge. But this could be a really great run come through now for Green Dagger.
Yeah, and I think that this is the right move here, keeping an eye on this. However, we're going to move our attention to something that is on everyone's mind here, this GOAT No Mercy standoff here. We got Shasir keeping eyes on Ray and Kota, however, not able to get that connecting damage he was hoping for, not even attempting a shot there. Looks like in the distance, his teammate Ash is knocked, and that is going to absolutely be detrimental for them. And if Ash's position is any like what it was when we last saw him, I don't think the No Mercy boys are going to be able to stick any revives there. So it's going to bring them down to a 3-person team, and whether or not they have a strategy shift being brought down from a 4-piece to a 3-piece is yet to be seen.
Well, we'll have to wait. Only time will reveal what is going to be happening here. Meanwhile, we do see the continuation of the altercation between the players there from Green Dagger and the Puppeteers, as Reckless is going to be the final remaining player. Of course, well, sorry, alongside Feng. We did see a quick hit coming in there with Feng's name popping up in that feed. But Green Dagger now going to be keeping their distance, not wanting to rush up. Instead, going to be looking to capitalize on the hard cover they have at their disposal. But they need to act relatively swiftly because we've got several more teams yet to rotate in from that northeastern position. As you can see, Feng now assisting us with a little bit of a whereabouts. The players coming through there from Alta Esports being positioned just to the north. So they need to act relatively quickly with how they're going to try and potentially play out this position.
Well, I like what you were saying about Green Dagger holding position. I think it's a similar strategy for the crew and Puppeteer. As you said, at this point, they are just a 2-piece and holding on to the edge of zone with a nice little high ground advantage. So it's going to be interesting to see if they decide to become mobilized and get a new position in zone or not, because to do so might be putting themselves at a position of risk here. We see Lucy firing uphill, aimed in at Fang, not able to get any connecting damage. Fang with a little bit of compound cover. Lucy head on his heels there, really trying to get a line of sight, but no such luck.
It is a pretty tough position to play indeed, and as you can see, the tides have turned a little bit on towards No Mercy, as they are not looking too confident, but they do find a great spray up on towards Goat there, but it is still a very cautious play, and the players from Goat actually now just looking to set themselves up quite phenomenally, moving into that mountainous area. Of course, Titans, they've also wrapped around, gone for a lot more of a centralized play. But as we look onto Green Dagger, we can see Lucy now trying to advance forward, looking for that opportunity on towards Reckless and Feng.
Yeah, Lucy pushing up on his or her own is what's even more interesting, leaving his 2 teammates back to do overwatch and cover fire. Lucy, with a lot of pressure on him or her, is going to be cooking up a utility aimed in at Fang, actually aimed in at where Fang was, not where he was going to be. And so they're going to... I actually also like the positioning of Puppeteer, not staying too close to one another. Reckless taking a huge hit at the hands of Lucy. I guess he made a little bit of noise and commotion, and that was all Lucy needed. Her ears were her second set of eyes in that case, as she just rained hellfire down on him, and it's going to be a quick thirst to follow.
Yeah, just using that sonar technique, right? Using the sound. But it is going to be up to Green Dagger to see if they can close it out. You can see Feng now cooking up a few nades in defense. But will that be sufficient to kind of hold off the advances coming through here from Green Dagger? Oh, Lucy takes a little bit of damage, now repositions up to the window, and this could be that breach for them to secure it. Yes, indeed. It is going to be Feng to get taken down, and with that, Puppeteers now need to get on back. The fights will, of course, continue. As you can see, several sprays coming through in that feed. The players from the side of Alta Esports are still going to be looking to try and make a few gains here. As we got Lei actually opting into the water, trying to sneak closer towards Hatin, where we see the players there from Cave and Egotistical. Meanwhile, Ray gets taken on down as the shots connect, and the players from Strangers, DBI, in hot pursuit.
Yeah, and you can't even help but feel a little bit of sympathy there for that final member of Puppeteers. He was just outnumbered, outmanned, outgunned. But here we have it, Alter Esports as a 2-piece, aiming in at a full 4-person squad of Strangers BD. It is going to be a tricky one. We see actually, look at the spread on Strangers as well. A bit of a 2-1-1 split here. It's going to put them in a nice positioning, all overseeing Kiki. However, Kiki right there and then, I caster cursed him. Kiki getting the knock and a quick thirst to follow with the 3x M4, but Revenge is best served cold and fast. And boy, oh boy, that statement couldn't have been more perfect, as that player's name was Revenge, ironically enough, and Revenge got revenge.
Oh, yes, sir. That is exactly what happened. We did see one of the Titan players also now falling in the feed. And with that, it is now all down to Puncher. But it is going to be the players now from the Panthers looking to push up and get themselves situated, looking for a little bit of those more elevated angles. But No Mercy are going to be left to the mercy of the blue zone. As you can see, Bengash now just held up position in that Camp Alpha area. But meanwhile, on the eastern side, Panthers now feeling a little bit of that pressure coming in. But I'm liking this approach coming through from Goat, right? Still a very, very spread out play being had here by them.
Yeah, and guys, interestingly enough to note, our top two teams here, Titan Gaming and No Mercy, feeling pretty weak at this stage of the game here. We got No Mercy reduced down to a two-person team of Attitude and Bangash with 2 kills to their name as a team, and flip the script. We got Titan Gaming, which at this point is down to Puncher, and Puncher alone with 0 kills. And both of these teams are just trying to survive at this point. They want to survive longer than the other team, and that is the name of the game for them. With them this close, only 4 points apart, it is going to be absolutely pivotal. Every second matters here.
Yeah, it definitely does. And so far, they are creeping themselves much, much closer to the placement point territory, as well as we've now been we've now been reduced to only 9 remaining teams. But the Panthers are going to be looking to lay it into the players coming through there on the side from Green Dagger. Meanwhile, Goat keeping their eyes absolutely peeled then on the Ace of Spades team. As you can see, Egotistical actually coming through with a quick knock on towards Mumbai. The shots will continue as Nemesis also now gets traded on through. And this is now where the players from Ace of Spades really try to defend their honor. As you can see, Versa trying to bring up those defensive positions.
A little bit of pressure on Ace of Spades, but a real opportunity for what remained of GOAT Esports. Pardon me, not what remained. They're still a full 4-person team. But with that high ground and opportunity to get that third-party kill on Mom Bay, it was just lining them up like fish in a barrel. All the while, the Panthers and Strangers BD preparing for an altercation here. The Panthers operating as a 3-piece. We see Chico with a DBS. This is a close quarter combat demon, and Revenge is going to have to play things a little bit carefully here. And well played, well timed, and he does get the takedown on Chico with the M4, leaving things riding in the hands of Moso and Fears alone.
Now Strangers looking to dial in that aggression as they now come rushing forward, just expanding with the utilities, trying to find any potential angles they can create, and with that it's going to be up to Fears and Moso, trying to see if they can fend off the advances coming through as Strangers DB now look to rush in. That blue zone is going to be hard on their heels as well. There's no chance there's no chance or time really to waste here as they come rushing on forward. Fears get taken on down, and Moso now is the final hopeful, could potentially opting for a little bit of that heal strat.
Yeah, I was just about to say, when you see someone with 32 first aids, they're not just planning on taking a lot of damage. They have got the long haul marathon strategy, guys. When I say that, I mean it's a marathon, not a sprint, and they are going to be trying to use that med strat to get survival placement. Unfortunately for them, it does not work out, and they are eliminated right then and there in 7th place, and that is absolutely pivotal. Could be game-changing for them, because this is a team that started off in 4th place. Oh! Nicely
yes,
done.
Sir.
And Puncher,
there we go.
Titan Gaming still hanging in there for his team, getting a kill on the board as well. And boy, oh boy, Titan Gaming needs it, especially with that little bit of gap between themselves and No Mercy. However, No Mercy is out of the equation at this point, and any more placement on Titan's end could be all that makes that difference. It could be all the change that they need.
Yep. Yeah, that was the players there from the side of No Mercy getting taken out in 6th place. So with that of course then results in not as many placement points as they would have hoped. But ideally for Titan, they just need to try and ride out this position, trying to get at least up into that top 4, top 3 position, or the top 4, top 3 finish rather, as we now look onto the players here from GOAT. still just trying to capitalize, looking to leverage their position, but it is going to be ready to get taken down by the blue zone. Cave, meanwhile, feeling the pressure as Piper just lays waste to them, and they are now down to only keep. And Taboka looking for that dash, but Alf now just laser focusing in onto them, and now keep in danger. Oh, but that could be another play coming through from the Strangers right alongside them.
Yeah, honestly, and I was just thinking, you know, for Titan Puncher, really getting lucky here with that zone because he has been pinched underneath those two players for GOAT. And he's been pinched there for quite a while. And luckily for him, this new zone shift gives him the very edge. And if it didn't, it would have probably spelled the end for him because to move anywhere leaves him extremely vulnerable to AUF and Piper. So he is thanking his lucky stars. However, the zone has shifted and he is just outside of it. And I have caster cursed the boy right then and there. Guys, we are down to our final 4 teams. We got Strangers, BD, GOAT, Cave, and Titan. It's a 2v2v, 1v1 to end our third and final match. Whoa! The nade from Tapoka getting Golden Boy from a distance. A monster nade. I said it yesterday. So dirty, it's clean at the same time. Goodness gracious. A 2v2v1. Titan, GOAT, and Cave to decide the winner of round 3.
I mean, that was like a homing missile, right? If I'm being honest, that was like a homing missile. It's like their name was written on that one, but now it is going to be the players from GOAT looking to follow through as they do find the confirmation on towards Taboka. And it is going to be up to Keep to try and keep the players from Cave in contention through this match. But GOAT looking absolutely phenomenal, as we can see them still being situated within that zone. The final 3 teams now trying to play it out, Keep trying to make that rush. Oh, the blue zone comes through with the damage, and Puncher finds their second elimination. And this could be what is required for Titans to secure their pole position finish. GOAT still hot on their heels, and they are going to be laying it on as thick as they can, trying to secure the chicken for themselves.
Yeah, but GOAT only able to put up 6 kills, which is a very strong number by all means, but they needed that miracle number here to take the title from Titan Gaming. So the fact that Puncher is getting this far along and adding that extra 2 kill advantage, it's going to be tough for them. But as we can see, AUF cooking up that nade right there does land just by Puncher. His location is certainly no secret to them as he's brought down to just about half health, hugging that cliff as he tries to reposition himself. All the pressure riding on him at this point. And interestingly enough, the zone has shifted, favoring neither team here. And so GOAT is in a kind of a pickle here because to jump down is going to severely weaken them, and that could be an opportunity for Puncher to capitalize. However, with them utilizing this many nades here, it depends on what they've gotten, what GOAT has in their arsenal in terms of utilities here. But Puncher, as long as he can kind of outlast him there, he could leave with a nice little advantage. As you know, as well as I do, once you jump from a position that high, it takes a good second or two to get reacclimated. And I think that's what's going to happen to GOAT. And we'll have to see if it favors Puncher or not.
Oh. Well, up comes Piper. Oh, and down they go.
What just happened?
Hey, what? Oh, Titan in second and GOAT stealing the chicken from the clutches there. 7 eliminations. That puts them on a total of 22 points, but that could spell second place for GOAT, putting them above No Mercy just based on eliminations. I don't like. Don't call me on that one. Don't quote me on that one. But I think this is going to be as close as, well, I don't know, whatever you can think of. But I mean, I think it's pretty safe to say the Titans are secured in pole position. I honestly think that GOAT just jumped into second. I might be wrong, but that's what I think just happened.
Well, regardless, we are absolutely just astonished by that final play. I can't find that is by far the most impressive play that we've seen in this event, and to end everything with it, just that little icing on the cake there. Well, guys, no time to waste. Let's have a look at the MVP for round 3. It is gonna be Revenge from Strangers BD, putting up 5 kills and 547 damage. And it's interesting to see because compared to our first 2 matches, that really isn't that many kills. But on the board, as we see it, that is by far the highest number. As you can see, it's a little bit more close quarter combat intensive coming into Sanhok. And so maybe not so many kills per person, but a great performance on the end of Revenge of Strangers BD.
Yeah, a glorious play coming through. That 4th place finish alongside the 7 eliminations in total will be great for them. But our MVT is going to be none other than the players coming through from Green Dagger, walking away with those 10 eliminations and 1,400 damage being dealt. Absolutely great run coming in for them.
Yeah, and you know, as they said, they started off this match in 12th place, and so their options were kind of few and far between. So that's why I said maybe the route might be to have a little bit of fun, and I think that they just showed everyone that when they're in their comfort zone, even when they're in their comfort zone with not so much pressure riding on them, they can really thrive. And look at that. 1,432 damage. They had some extra damage to spare. It's a great performance on Green Dagger's end. To get MVT while only securing 5th place means you had to put up a pretty good performance. Well, guys, no time to waste. Let's have a look-see at the overall standings of the PUBG Mobile Independence Tournament. Well, congratulations to the winners of the event. It's going to be Titan Gaming taking that gold trophy with 99 points. It's just shy of 100. You wish you saw it, but 99 is going to clutch the dub here. Congratulations to No Mercy for getting a nice silver in there with 88 points, trailing Titan by 11. And here's where things start to get pretty close here. No Mercy only led GOAT by 5 points. GOAT going to take the bronze with 83 points total. After that, we start to see a bit of a gap between 3rd place and below, as Cave takes 4th with 62, Strangers BD in 5th with 51, the Panthers just shortly behind with 6 and 48, and just barely behind them is Aces Spades in 7th with 47. DK, what are your overall thoughts, my man?
I mean, it has been an absolutely crazy run coming in. GOAT, they came so close to jumping into 2nd place, but they are definitely the leaders with regards to eliminations. We can see there 47 eliminations in total. I mean, that is in large fact thanks to the performance that they brought into today, right? They had a glorious run come through in Miramar, and they topped it up even more so moving into the final match. But at the end of the day, our victors are going to be Titans, walking away with a very well-deserved victory there. And they just played such a phenomenal set of games, especially moving into today.
And you know what the name of the game for the Titans was? Consistency. They were pretty much high performing throughout the entirety of this event, not just qualifiers, but in the finals, both days as well. So I got to give a round of applause to Titan. And keep in mind, guys, when you're working on just 3 matches to determine an event, these maps are all completely different. So this means that the crew in Titan had to become well-versed in each map and adapt their strategy to each map as well. So they did so effectively while maintaining that aggression. That's a nice little golf clap for them. Yes, golf claps all around. Well, guys, I gotta say, it has just been an absolute blast getting to co-cast this event with my main man, DK. Just all-out bloodbath warfare, and at an elevated level, no less. And with that being said, we don't want to waste too much more of your time, guys. At least for me, it's going to be a wrap, and I hope to see you guys for the next PUBG Mobile event. Remember to follow the PUBG Mobile Esports NA YouTube for more events moving forward. DK, anything you'd like to add?
No, just want to thank everyone for tuning in and allowing us to just, try to entertain you with the action being brought in by these players. So thank you so much for everyone for stopping by. And of course, a big shout out going to all these teams. You guys are absolute legends. Beautiful PUBG action.
Yep, guys. Well, with that being said, I hope you all have a great day. Have fun, be safe, and be kind to one another. GG's.